It is my pleasure to present our honorary degree recipient and today's commencement speaker. Will Ms. Isabel Castillo please rise? Father President, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, Ms. Isabel Castillo, DREAM Act advocate. Dr. Julio Moreno, Associate Professor of History, and someone who was undocumented himself once, will read the citation. Professor Moreno.
The University of San Francisco is proud to honor Isabel Castillo Saldivar for her efforts to secure passage of the DREAM Act. In honoring Ms. Castillo, we recognize her courageous work, draw attention to the need for comprehensive immigration reform, and publicly support the eventual realization of her dream and ours. Isabel Castillo's parents brought her from Mexico to Harrisonburg, Virginia, when she was 6 years old. She graduated from the local public high school with an enviable 4.0 GPA and perfect attendance. Despite her exceptional academic record, as an undocumented immigrant without a Social Security number, she had difficulties being admitted to college, and she could not apply for federal or state financial aid. Eastern Mennonite University, however, accepted her and offered some financial support. To pay for the rest of her education, she worked for a year in search for private scholarships. Her work and dedication paid off. She earned a bachelor's degree in 3.5 years and graduated with high academic honors in social work. Her new dream is to pursue a master's degree in social work and continue contributing to the U.S. economy. Ms. Castillo's college experience transformed her. She became a national political advocate for the DREAM Act after her community activism led to the Harrisburg City Council to pass a resolution in support of this federal legislation. Dressed in her regalia, she led a march on Washington and staged a sit-in at the office of Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid to persuade him to put the DREAM Act in the legislative calendar. After several hours at the senator's office, Ms. Castillo and others were arrested. She appeared before a judge, but was fortunately not forced to face deportation proceedings. Such risk, however, did not deter Ms. Castillo from her public advocacy. She subsequently confronted Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell to a town hall meeting at James Madison University and shared her story with the audience. She continues to push for passage of the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act was defeated at the US Senate late last year. However, our nation's history is filled with legislation, with civil rights legislation, that suffers setbacks but ultimately becomes law. With Isabel Castillo as an advocate, the University of San Francisco is confident that justice, fairness, and compassion will eventually prevail. We are proud to honor her courageous work on behalf of all undocumented students. The university, therefore, confers upon Isabel Castillo Saldivar the degree of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto, on the 20th day of May, in the year of the Lord, 2011, and of the university, the 156th in San Francisco, California.
members of the Board of Trustees, Father Prevet, esteemed faculty, families, and friends of the graduates, and of course, members of the class of 2011. Thank you for the invitation to your esteemed and beautiful campus and for the humbling and absolutely intimidating honor of an honorary doctorate degree. I actually almost didn't believe it at first when I got an email asking me to come and speak at your commencement ceremony and saying you wanted to give me an honorary doctorate degree. I half wondered if someone was playing a practical joke on me. I had my serious doubts on whether or not it was legitimate when I received an email from what appeared to me to be a random dude that I later discovered was your university president, of course. But I actually had to contact the school to make sure this was legitimate. So I began to wonder if word had gotten out here to San Francisco about a lot of the work that I've been privileged to be a part of with the National Immigrant Youth Alliance, fighting to pass the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act would provide a pathway to earn citizenship for undocumented youth who attend college, youth also known as dreamers. I've been blessed to work with dreamers from across the country, from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, California, of course, New York, among many other states, including most recently Georgia, who passed some very damaging pieces of legislation in their state General Assembly. I thought maybe your invitation had to do with that work and my personal story. But I never believed myself that my story was anything noteworthy or anything special until I realized that a lot of my experience I share in common with so many other young people across the country. I'm originally from Mexico, and I've been living here in the US for the past 20 years of my life. My parents brought me here when I was only 6 years old, so I didn't really choose to be brought here. I started the first grade in the Virginia public school system and graduated in the top 10% of my class with a 4.0 GPA. It was during my senior year, though, that I realized that I was different from my peers. As I applied for college scholarships, I learned I did not have a social security number. And even though I've lived here nearly my entire life and know no home other than Virginia, I was blocked from going to college, getting financial aid, and paying in-state tuition rates. But I was still not deterred from pursuing my dreams. After high school, I worked as a waitress 7 days a week from 9 in the morning till 10 p.m. And eventually God heard my prayers. And I was able to enroll at Eastern Mennonite University, a Christian university much like yours, located in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's in social work in 3.5 years. And then I was at another stage of my life, much like when I graduated from high school. After college, what do I do now? What is my next opportunity after graduating? I knew I couldn't work because I don't have permission. Yet I grew up here, and this is the only home that I know. And so as I'm telling you my story today, and as I prepared for this speech, I was confronted with the fact that when one listens to a commencement speech, one expects to hear from the speaker some imparted wisdom, some anecdote about upon graduation, you launch yourself into a new chapter in your life and you are thrust into the real world where you are to seek your vocation. One would expect the commencement speaker to be able to share their experience about what that first job is like and what things one should expect as a young graduate, and how best to be a productive part of the environment, and all while staying true to yourself. But I don't have that to share with you today. I don't know what it's like to be able to use my degree in a field or in a vocation that is true to who I am. I have yet to experience that, and so I don't have any stories to share from the office because of my documentation status, and that's my goal. And that's what's shaped the heart that I have, and that's what's shaped the vision that I have. And that's why I'm proud to be here at a prestigious university like yours, where in your mission statement, you highlight the importance of, quote, educating leaders who will fashion a more humane and just world, and have a culture of service that respects and promotes the dignity of every person, end of quote. And to me, every person means exactly that, every person, whether you're documented or undocumented. In a more humane and just world, that is what I and thousands across the nation are seeking, to move towards a more humane and just world. And sometimes one has to do right even when right may go against our current law on a book in some stuffy storage room somewhere. And sometimes one has to do what is right in situations that are uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you what, boy, am I a little uncomfortable right now. I mean, the email I received from Father Prevet said an audience of about 2,000 people. My graduating class was 200, so you can only imagine. And really, if you think about it, any of you could call Immigration and Custom Enforcement right now and say, there's an illegal person speaking at my commencement, at my graduation, which, by the way, I prefer the term undocumented, because no human being is illegal. I am undocumented because I lack a piece of paper. And so as we pursue together, and as I resonate strongly with your mission of pursuing a more humane and just world, I ask you and myself the same question. How can it be a just world when Maria Marroquin from Pennsylvania, when it has taken her 6 years to complete an associate's degree? How can it be a just world when Mohammed Abdullahi from Michigan cannot complete his college degree because he's fighting for his life to make the DREAM Act a reality so that he will not get deported back to Iran, where he will be killed for his sexual orientation? How can it be just when students are banned from Georgia's colleges and universities? When our own President of the United States of America says he supports the DREAM Act with all his heart, but yet is deporting dreamers, more dreamers than any other president before him. So for us as dreamers, we've been fighting for the DREAM Act since 2001, when it was first introduced. We've seen the rise and the fall of many possibilities for the DREAM Act to pass, and we've been disappointed. But we won't give up the fight. We won't compromise on who we are and what we are asking for, and we won't be discouraged. We won't be turned away, even though it didn't pass just last December of 2010 by only 5 votes, the closest we've ever been. The following words of the paradoxical commandments, or in the Mother Teresa's version, the final analysis, serve as an encouragement to us dreamers, but also as a challenge to you graduates. Quote, "People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish or ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have anyway." You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. End of quote. And so justice is standing up for what is right in the face of challenge, in the face of seeming defeat. But we know right will always win out in the end, that justice will always prevail. I believe that with my whole heart. Otherwise, I would have given up a long time ago. That is why I'm here today. I am here because I believe in the power of justice and what is right. And I believe in the small role that I can play in bringing that about. We all have a part, and I'm just trying to do mine. Again, I am honored to be speaking here today because of the beautiful simplicity of your mission of going out and fighting for a more humane and just world. And the only thing that I ask you today, graduates of the University of San Francisco, is to always hold on to that. Whatever you go on to do, whatever you go on to become, maybe a successful, accomplished, insanely wealthy people, and that's wonderful. May God bless you in your pursuits. But the only thing that I would ask you today is to never, ever, no matter what you do or what you become, never let go of that part of the mission. That's why you chose this school. That's why you came here. You wanted something different in the pursuit of your education, in the pursuit of how you define yourself as a successful person. In the question of how to define a successful person, I'm not as interested as how much money you've earned or how many positions you hold for the rest of your life, or even how many policies and rules you have affected. To me, what it comes down to in my final analysis, what really matters in life and how you determine whether or not you have achieved success is how you treat others. And so in the words of Araya Mountain Dreamer in her poem, The Invitation, quote, "It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me to know or who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away." Thank you so much for listening, and again, congratulations, class of 2011.